Good morning, good people. Now listen, I ain't here to sugarcoat nothing. We got to talk about something real today. And that is, you got to let go. Let go of the pain, let go of the past, let go of what's weighing you down. Because if you don't, you ain't ever gonna get to where you're supposed to be. See, too many people are out here holding on to stuff that don't even serve them no more. Walking around carrying bags of regret, dragging mistakes from 10 years ago, replaying old conversations that can't be changed. You ever see somebody try to run while dragging a suitcase? It don't work. That baggage slows you down, trips you up, keeps you stuck in the same spot. Letting go of the past is one of the hardest things a person can do. It sounds simple, but when you've lived through pain, betrayal, disappointment, or failure, those memories don't just disappear. They sit in the back of your mind, creeping up at the worst times, reminding you of everything that went wrong. The problem is, the more you hold on to what happened, the more you let it define you. The past is meant to be a lesson, not a life sentence, but too many people keep replaying old chapters, hoping the ending will somehow change. It won't. People stay trapped in the past for different reasons. Some hold on because they think if they let go, it means what happened didn't matter. But that's not true. Letting go doesn't erase the experience, it just stops it from controlling your life. Others hold on because they think they need closure. They keep going over the situation, trying to figure out why things happened the way they did, waiting for an apology that may never come, hoping for an explanation that won't change anything, even if they get it. The truth is, closure isn't something you get from other people. It's something you give yourself when you decide to stop giving the past power over you. Fear is another reason people struggle to let go. When you've been hurt before, it's easy to believe that moving on means risking that pain again. So instead of stepping forward, you stay in a place that feels familiar, even if it's not good for you. You replay past failures so much that you convince yourself you're destined to fail again. You hold on to toxic relationships because at least you know what to expect. You refuse to take new opportunities because last time didn't work out. The past becomes a prison and you're the one keeping yourself locked inside. Regret is another heavy chain people carry. You wish you had done things differently, wish you had made better choices, wish you could go back and fix what went wrong. But regret is a useless emotion if it doesn't push you toward growth. Wasting time thinking about what could have been won't change a thing. The only thing you can control is what happens next. The moment you accept that, you free yourself from a cycle that has kept you stuck for too long. A lot of people hold on to anger like it's fuel. Someone did them wrong, and they think holding on to that pain is a form of justice. They think if they let go, it means they're letting the other person win. But here's the truth. That person is living their life while you're still carrying a weight that isn't yours to bear. Anger will eat you up from the inside. It will make you bitter. It will steal your joy. It will keep you from seeing the good that's still ahead of you. Forgiveness isn't about saying what they did was okay. It's about choosing to no longer let it poison your life. Sometimes the hardest thing to let go of isn't the pain, but the dream you had for how things were supposed to turn out. You had a vision of what your life was supposed to look like by now. Maybe it was the job you thought you'd have, the relationship you thought would last forever, the success you thought you'd achieve. And when it doesn't happen, it's hard to move forward because you're still holding on to that old picture of how things were supposed to be. But life doesn't work like that. Life shifts, plans change. And the quicker you accept that, the quicker you can create a new vision. Some people hold on to the past because they think that's where their best days were. They live in nostalgia, always talking about the good old days, convinced that nothing ahead of them will ever measure up. But that's a lie you tell yourself when you're too scared to dream bigger. The best days of your life don't have to be behind you. They can be ahead of you if you're willing to let go of the past and step into what's next. Holding on to the past while trying to move forward is like trying to drive with the brakes on. You can press the gas all you want, But if you don't release what's holding you back, you won't go anywhere. Too many people are stuck in the same place, not because they aren't capable of moving forward, but because they refuse to let go of what's behind them. They say they want a better future, but their hands are still gripping old pain, old habits, old relationships, and old versions of themselves. When you carry the past with you, it weighs you down in ways you don't even realize. It clouds your judgment, keeps you from taking risks, and stops you from seeing the opportunities that are right in front of you. You may not even notice it at first, but the baggage you refuse to drop is affecting every part of your life. It shows up in the way you react to new situations, the way you interact with new people, and the way you approach new opportunity. You hesitate, you doubt yourself, you second guess every decision, all because something in your past convinced you that you weren't enough. Some people stay attached to the past because it's familiar. Even if it was painful, at least it's something they know. Stepping into the unknown is scary, so they hold on to old patterns, old relationships, and old ways of thinking because the idea of starting fresh seems overwhelming. They'd rather stay in a situation that's not serving them than face the discomfort of change. But you can't step into the life you're meant to have while clinging to the life you should have left behind. The longer you hold on, the harder it gets to move forward. You get comfortable in your misery. You start believing that this is just the way things are. You convince yourself that this is all life has to offer. So you stop trying, stop dreaming, and stop pushing for more. That's how people get stuck in the same cycle year after year, watching time pass them by while they stay in the same place. Letting go isn't easy because it requires trust. Trust that what's ahead is better than what's behind. Trust that you are capable of handling whatever comes next. Trust that the pain, disappointment, or failure you experienced wasn't the end of your story. But trust is hard when all you've known is struggle. When life has beaten you down enough times, it's easy to assume that nothing good is coming. That's why so many people stay where they are instead of reaching for something better. They don't believe better exists for them. Sometimes people hold on because they feel like they owe it to the past. They invested time, effort, and emotions into something, and walking away feels like admitting defeat. But holding on to something that isn't working isn't loyalty, it's self-sabotage. You don't owe your past anything, but you do owe it to yourself to build a future that makes sense for who you are now. Growth means outgrowing things that no longer fit you, and that's not a bad thing. It's a sign that you're evolving. People also struggle to let go because they are afraid of what others will think. They worry about disappointing family, losing friendships, or looking like they failed. But the truth is, people are going to talk regardless. If you stay stuck, they'll talk. If you move forward, they'll talk. You can't live your life based on other people's opinions because they aren't the ones who have to live with the consequences. It's also important to recognize that sometimes the past you're holding on to isn't even real anymore. You may be holding on to a version of a person who no longer exists, a relationship that was only good in your mind, or a situation that wasn't as perfect as you remember. The mind has a way of romanticizing the past, making it seem better than it really was. But nostalgia isn't a reason to stay stuck. You have to separate what was real from what you've convinced yourself was good for you. Moving forward requires making space for what's ahead. You can't grab hold of new blessings when your hands are full of old baggage. You have to be willing to release the weight that's keeping you down, even when it's uncomfortable. You have to be willing to trust that what's meant for you is ahead, not behind. Time is the one thing you can never get back. No matter how much you wish for it, no matter how many times you replay the past in your mind, no matter how much you regret what you did or didn't do, time keeps moving forward. The clock doesn't pause just because you're stuck in a moment that already happened. Life doesn't slow down just because you're holding on to something that no longer serves you. Every second spent dwelling on the past is a second that could have been used to build something better for your future. People waste years of their lives waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the right circumstances, waiting for something to change. before they allow themselves to move forward. They tell themselves they'll let go when they feel ready, when they get an apology, when they finally understand why things happened the way they did. But the truth is, waiting is just an excuse. There will never be a perfect moment to move on, because growth doesn't come from comfort. Growth happens when you make a decision to stop letting the past define you and start focusing on what's ahead. The problem is, people don't realize how much time they're wasting until it's too late. They wake up one day and realize that the years have passed, that the opportunity is gone, that the relationships they neglected have faded. They look back and wonder where the time went, wishing they had done things differently. But regret doesn't change the past. It only takes away from the time you have left. Instead of using today to create something better, they spend it mourning what could have been. Fear plays a big role in why people hold on. Fear of making the wrong choice. Fear of stepping into the unknown. Fear of leaving behind what's familiar. But fear is a liar. It will keep you stuck in places you've outgrown. It will convince you that moving forward is dangerous, that change is something